How is your sex life going? Who controls your sex life? Point to the person. Listen, we are talking, as you haven't noticed, we've been getting naked all month with a series. And so this, one of my favorite topics as well, getting naked, and we are jumping into sex and physical intimacy today. So, with no further ado, I'm your host, Mr. aka Jeffrey Mr. And right beside me is my wife of 13 plus years, 2 kids, the beautiful, intelligent.
I am his co-host, Dana Mr., aka Mrs. Mr., and together we are
the Misters! Yeah! So listen, if you are easily offended, if you are one of the ones that are stuck, we want to let you know that this is the time to get off. We want to get tired because, I don't know, many times there's a taboo about talking about sex, about different things, and that's just the way, things go. And so we want to kind of take that mask off. We said in a couple episodes ago, a lot of y'all sent a lot of messages about one of the previous episodes we had before about sex, and they were talking about Mrs. Mr. trying to overcome the taboo that many of you guys have shared, that you share as well. You came up in a Christian household, or you came up in something that sex was not talked about. It was a taboo subject. And so we want to start off today by shaking it loose. I want you to join us in just saying sex multiple times. Okay, come on, 3. See that? If you can't say it, how can you talk about it? If you can't talk about it, how can you have it?
Well, I don't believe people don't have a problem with talking about it. I believe it's just being intimate with somebody is one of those things that typically is private. So it's not to say that people have an issue with talking about it. I believe it's one of those things that should just be kept within like the bedroom. I think it's one of those things that, like, if you go to counseling and that sort of thing, that people discuss it, in the private and the confident of that counselor. But to just openly, outright, just talking about it, I know for me, I don't have a problem with talking about being intimate and having sex and all of that stuff when it's just me and you, or, but I think the issues become because that's something that's so private, that's so sacred, that God created between a man and a woman. So it's one of those things that's the reason for me it's uncomfortable. So
it has
nothing to do with, I believe that, God created to be this amazing gift that I feel like that God given us. And I just believe that it's just one of those things that I'm fine with it just discussing between me and you. But,
okay.
I believe that's for most people, we're fine with just discussing with your spouse because, again, it's your spouse. It's somebody that you confide in. But when you talk about open out, and it becomes a little bit more challenging.
But why not, though? So we're fine with talking about everything else. But for some reason why, I think it's a learned behavior. I think God God wanted you to get in there, huh? Or whatever you do.
And I think another thing too, I think you take it to a whole nother extreme that makes me uncomfortable. Because it's like you want to give vivid details, and I'm like, no, there's just some things for me that I just feel like should be kept sacred and kept intimate. And so my thing is that I'm all about being transparent. I don't have a problem with that at all, but I still believe there's just some things should be kept between me and you that nobody else should know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I would disagree. I just think the more comfortable you are, no, I'm just speaking for myself. I think the more comfortable you are with doing that, I think some people can be completely a taboo about it in public and then not taboo. I think typically there are links of both sides. And I think that for the most part, and I'll do some research that about 15% of men are not interested in sex or not interested in conversation about sex, and about 38% of women are not. So it's more than half. So I don't know. I think some of that, this is my own thoughts. You can give me your take, but most of it is from society. Like when we come up, they were telling women to, stay pure. They were telling guys too, but mostly women were focused on it. And so even the way women treat other women about sex, they have a lot of partners or something that's going on. There is a negative connotation to what women are treated from other women and from men too as well. But for men, it's a different.
Right.
Different.
And again, like I said, I believe people need to, have the conversation, all of that, especially between the spouse, especially between your spouse. Make sure you have the conversation, especially between you and your spouse. But I believe, again, like I stated, for my opinion, I just feel like that when it comes down to having certain conversations, it should be some things in regards to the details. We can leave the details. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can leave the details out. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. I just think that the binds and chains that have been put on us, if we don't openly talk about sex, if we don't openly get into a conversation about sex, it won't happen. I think we can expect it to get that way. I think those things tend to come into relationships and marriages and all those situations. So if you're here with us today, stay tuned.
Yes.
We talk about sex. We're not just talking about just the physical interest as part of it, but really in tune of like what happens through the process. So many times when people are dating, there's a urge to get there, to procreate or whatever it is, and many times many marriages end from many of you listeners or people who are watching on YouTube or you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever too. We heard you guys and what you guys are saying. I get a lot of messages all the time about how it used to be this way and now I can't get anything, or we're tailing off, and I think some of that comes from just the way things are. So before we get into it, please follow us on Instagram at mr.mrs.mister, Mrs. Mr. on Instagram, and the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. podcast on Facebook. Join the conversation on YouTube, subscribe, like, share as well on social media. We appreciate y'all, and let's get to the theme song, which we did not do yet. Jumping into it real quick. Okay. So she sings and get into it. Come on, 1, 2, 3, come on.
Laugh, learn, love.
Hey.
Laugh, learn, love.
Hey.
Laugh, learn, love.
It's the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. podcast show.
Laugh, learn, love.
Talking about sex,
laugh, learn, love.
We get naked.
Laugh, learn, love.
On the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. podcast show. Oh, yeah.
Let's start the show.
Yeah, let's get into it. So every episode we like to laugh, learn, and love. And before we get started, we talk about whose side you're on question of the day. So whose side you're on? Take it away then.
Should birthday sex be better than regular sex?
That's
Part
it.
one.
That's it. That's all.
Okay.
So should birthday sex be better than regular sex? What do you think? What do you think? Come on.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe again that, I believe that I didn't even know there was a difference between.
There you go. Because if nobody ever talks about it, if everybody keeps it inside, I think you just made a good point. I think if we don't talk about things, then it typically goes on the way we expect them to go. And if my expectations, if I push my expectations onto you, then is that fair? Or you push yours on without the conversational piece about it?
I guess my thing is like, this is just such a random question because
no, it's not right. It's just you said yes or no. Do you think?
I'm assuming so. I mean, I guess.
What makes you assume so?
I mean, I'm assuming so. I don't know. I'm just stating like when you intimate with your spouse, I feel like that. It's a time for you guys connect and be, that the way that God designed it for it to be. So I just feel like that only, I don't know.
Which side are you on?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this one, you go ahead because I don't know. I'm just speechless today. I don't know. Yes.
So you gotta I'm gonna give you a chance to pick a side. You gotta pick a side though. I think
I'm assuming so. I mean, I guess my thing is I just never know like.
So that's what I'm saying. This is what the conversation is for. If you haven't known,
well, what is
it's
that?
just your thought. This is just your thought. You just your thought. So I would say I think so. I think your birthday, especially women love birthdays. I thought you would be a proponent for saying this side of it. I guess
my thing is I'm just like, just being intimate with your spouse, no matter what day or anniversary or holiday or any.
No, you saying no.
No, I'm just saying. I know. I'm just feeling like that. It will be one of those things that you're I don't know, child. I don't know.
No, just pick
I don't
one.
know.
Just
As
pick
you
one.
guys can see, this is probably the most. I'm just gonna be totally honest and transparent with y'all. I really don't feel comfortable discussing this and with you guys. I just feel like this is just too open for me. And I'm just being honest. If you would just hear me out. I just feel like there's just some things like I feel like we have opened up our lives to you all. Yeah. I do. And I love that. But I just feel like this component of it I would rather keep just for us. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. So this conversation is a little bit, so I'm probably gonna let Jeff drive home this conversation more because I just feel like for me I'd rather it's just something that now, because I'm a private person naturally, and so this whole podcast is taking me out of my comfort zone completely. So, but for me, this is one thing I really don't want to open up to my life to y'all. I really don't. I just being honest.
That's fair.
So, I mean, give me an article. We'll read the article to you. So.
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna go with yes because I think it has to happen that way. I think it's been designed in the past. There are songs about it, so it has to be true, right? And so, but this is just for fun. You can just get into it. But I think just for the sake of somebody's birthday, I think you should go. I think you should put if
what's the difference though? Is it? I mean, because this again, it's one of those things like being into with that person, like. What is that person gonna be swinging that? Are you swinging off the poles or something?
There's no judgment for me.
I'm just saying, like, if that's the thing I guess for me, I'm like, I don't wake up like, oh, it's Jeffrey's birthday, so now I don't know. I don't know. It's just
listen. Now this is the first step. That's the first step. So, but what you're saying is this right here. So by not saying, you're saying. This is the way I operate. Even if I don't think that way, I'm assuming that others will think that way.
You gonna enjoy it regardless if it's your birthday or holiday or whatever day. You gonna enjoy it regardless. That's what I'm trying to say.
I hear what you're saying, but I think you made a point without making a point. I think that same conversation is what someone else is thinking like. They should be fine. I think.
No. I'm not saying that person should be fine. But what I'm stating is, I just didn't know that. Apparently, okay, y'all schooled me on this. Apparently, I didn't know that it was like, oh, you know what? Let me take. Let me.
Yes, it's the thing.
Okay.
It's the thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
After 13 years, who knew?
There you go. That's what this whole podcast is about. It's about continuing learning.
So moving on to the next question. The next question is.
So hold on. I'll take it.
I was gonna do part two.
It's not a part two.
No, part two.
This is part two. No.
Oh.
I'll drive it here. I got this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk about.
All right.
Talk about that. We're going to talk about starting off right. So
put in a comment.
Yes.
Whose side you're on? I don't know whose side. You know what? I can go ahead and give y'all this comment. Y'all have the right to go ahead and be on this.
They don't have a choice. You just. Thank you guys. I won last week as well. Go back and watch last week's episode, the last episode. Yes, I did. Go back and watch that episode.
Go ahead.
So, all right, that was the laugh part about that, right? So we didn't get to the laugh. Now about the learn part about that. And so get into the then and now. A lot of times you hear then and now. I've heard T.D. Jake's sermon too about how, like, I love my wife, but I miss my girlfriend. Or it may be reversed for women, like, I love my husband, but I miss my boyfriend situations. And so, like, real time, talking about sex, really having conversations. Like, this is a great time to do that. And you're like, I didn't even know it's a thing. And that's why you have those conversations to get to things that you didn't know.
No, I'm talking about, I guess with me is, I have to go back to this, because let me clarify this. I'm just stating that, I know, like birthdays. We're big on birthdays in our household. We are. No, we're tremendously big on birthdays.
Except on birthday sex is what you said.
No, but what I'm stating is, like, I believe that when the moment is created, regardless of it's a birthday or a holiday or just during the week, you should still put in the same effort as if it was your birthday. That's what I guess I'm trying to say. Like, you should still put in that same effort as if it was a birthday or a holiday. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, thank you, Lord. So you should put you should put in the same effort. So it shouldn't be one of those things. It's kind of like. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't take on that mentality like, when you get closer to the holidays, you started being nicer and everything to everybody. You should be naturally nice to people regardless.
That's fair.
That's what I'm trying to say. Fair. No matter if it's a birthday or a holiday or something like that. Yeah, I'm back on this. So no matter if it's a holiday or a birthday or something like that, you should put in the same effort and put in the same, the passion and the emotions. All of that should be the same. So now we can move on.
Okay. Yeah. Now I have a rebuttal for this.
No,
keep going. Just for a second time. So all right, get into what I was saying. Yes, the learn part about that of like what changes. Many times when you meet somebody and there's a graduation of learning for them, there's a desire for like, man, you're trying to keep yourself from having sex. Many married couples today will look and say, like, hey, now it's different from when it first began. For us, just real briefly, like, what was your thoughts beforehand, and then what are your thoughts now in terms of, like, the push for that, like the strength to do this?
I think when we first got married, before we got married, we were definitely practicing celibacy. It was one of the things that we strive, we wanted to do or whatnot. And it was, for me, it felt like it was challenging. You know what I'm saying? It was more challenging. And I believe it's kind of one of those things, what's that, 1 Corinthians 10:13, there's no temptation. It's just temptation.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's just the temptation is there because, of course, we love and we desire what we can't have. That's what temptation is, right? Temptation is we love and we desire what we don't supposed to do, what we can't have. And so, of course, being in a dating situation, you supposed to abstain from being intimate with each other. You know what I'm saying? But in which we were striving, we were trying for sure. But it's one of those things where we love what we cannot have. Yes. And so then, fast forward, you're married.
Now you can have a buffet. You can get as much as you like.
Yeah. And I think just with life and time and all of that stuff, of course, most people when they're dating, it's fresh, it's new, it's so exciting. And for us, we're in college, you don't have the responsibilities. You're just having fun, you're just having life, you're just enjoying life as where it is. And then fast forward, especially, and then early on in marriage, it's still good, you know what I'm saying? But eventually, you as time goes on, life happens. And so then, you like, okay, you have to be more intentional about being intimate with each other.
Yes, and many couples that I hear from, and the same thing for us.
It stopped being intentional.
Yes.
Because life happens.
Yeah, life happens. And so then you have to put in the work for it, and you have a different desired level. So like somebody else may be more of a higher, maybe the male, typically for the most part, sometimes the female, sometimes reverse and those things. And so it's trying to work out those because before, okay, there's temptation, you're trying to get there, and both of you guys are typically on the same level there. And so somebody typically goes a little higher than somebody else. And think about, for you guys, if you're listening right now, who was the person that has elevated more than them, like in terms of desire? And so there are things that are just more than just that. Like it could be in terms of, I don't know, maybe it's physical things, maybe it's something like mental, maybe it's stress, maybe it's different things that are pushing you there, or maybe it's just a natural desire push of like somebody's a higher desire person, the other person. And one of the questions I ask them again is like, who controls the sex in your household? And many times it's the lower desire person who controls it because like they get a chance to accept. And I thought about for you guys who are listening or watching right now, who controls the sex in your home? And have you talked about that? And so what does the conversation like that looks like? What does it sound like? And it's just really asking those questions and whatnot too about like, hey, like, man, so like, just real quick, what are some things taken away on both sides, right? So there are two sides about how a higher desire, low desire person like that may be going into it. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on either side? Like, what is it? Get some quick, but just in terms of like, what is in the mindset of somebody on either side of those? I don't know if you want to
I believe, I guess in the mindset, I do agree with you that usually the person who's on the lower side of wanting being intimate and whatnot, they usually are the ones that control it for sure. I do feel like if a spouse, and we discussed this I think last week or week before last or something like that, whereas if Jeffrey comes and like to me, and if you feel like not tonight or whatever it is, it's been a long day or whatever, ladies, you know what we say, or men
the yams,
so it would be one of those things. He may feel rejected, and so in his mind it may be, well, did I do something? Like, is something wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? So you could create this fault, whereas on the other side could be, oh, it's just been a long day and it's just not the time, the mood, you know what I'm saying? The mood, everything has to be right. So I believe you just have to make sure. That's the reason why communication is so important between, just between, you and your significant other. It's just so important to discuss and communicate, especially like how you feel.
Yep.
Because again, you could provide a false, what's the word I'm looking for? A false, or you just be making assumptions of things and creating things in your mind and internalizing things in your mind that's not necessarily there.
And so communicating those things, and how do you respond when your partner communicates with you is huge too. Because many people communicate, but the response is not like it's pushback. It's something like I'm going to like minimize what you say, or like my actions don't match what I'm saying.
Right.
In a sense, and so like those things make a huge difference. So it's like being conscious about how am I, which one am I?
Right, and I think another thing too is making sure you fulfilling your spouse love tank. Make sure you filling that love tank, whatever you want to call it. You have to make sure, because I think a lot of times, like, I think whoever is the person that really wants the yams the most, they are probably they're probably more like, okay, I want it. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, have you put in the work? Like, does your significant other feel value, where they just don't feel like, oh, you just want me for the yams? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure that you're feeling that love language. Like, for me, although Jeffrey, and it's so funny, Jeffrey is the type of person, because he's like, no, that's not your love language. But like, my love language, most people may not. My love language, of course, is service, and I love gifts. Like, and I'm not talking about, or I love like quality time or whatnot. And so Jeffrey's like, getting flowers and candy is a waste of money. Okay,
that's not what I think at all. I think that I can speak for myself.
Okay,
I don't think that's not what I think at all. What I think is, I think that both sides have to own it. Like, it can't be to where one person is earning, whether you're the woman or the man, all the time, to where that person says, you know what, the only gift that I have to give is this. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I think it's more in terms of like, the lower desire spouse has to understand, because the higher desire spouse, and vice versa too. Right. So it has to be both sides, to where, you know what, everything can't be in a row every time, or with a busy schedule in life, it's not going to happen. I think that can be a reason why, there's for that decline to happen, if that's the case.
Right. Right. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. What I was just stating was, like, I think it just takes both people putting in the work.
Definitely.
I think that's the main thing, is both people putting in the work. Is give and take, and sometimes you may feel like you're more on the giving side. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a blessing to definitely give, but just make sure. I think sometimes you could be so, I don't know, but yeah, I just feel like it just goes both ways.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so we have some things you can do, right? So let's say you're on the same boat as we've been several times before. Many of you guys have already said too, is what can I do, right? So first, good communication. I think you named that earlier. Good communication is key to healthy and active sex life in your relationship. So talk about it with another. Getting past just the superficial things like how was your day? Like digging into those times, spending time together, away from kids, away from social media or television, like to dig in deeper and have those deep conversations. We typically have those more in the beginning of relationships because you're trying to get a chance to know them.
Right.
And so you don't have bills, you don't have kids for the most part that you're dealing with to compete there. And so starting there, definitely. 2 is share desires and expectations, right? When was the last time you shared what you desired sexually with your partner, whether you're the higher desire or the lower desire spouse? When was the last time you shared what you desire sexually with your spouse? Throughout the day, through just in the conversation you guys have, being able to share and talk openly about what you desire. And there may be some hangups you have in the past of something like maybe it's something that happened to you while you were younger, maybe it's something that keeps you from that. So like, but sharing what you like, what you don't like, you know what I'm saying, what you like to try with each other, and then setting those up. You want to jump in there?
Make a plan. Basically stating schedule intimate time with each other.
What do you think about that? Because that's something I want to really dig into too. What do you think about scheduling sex? Like sex Tuesday nights, Tuesday afternoon, the lunch. What are your thoughts?
I would say this. I just really believe it just depends on how you look at it. I think for people who, for example, like you travel a lot and, sometimes in some months I may be traveling, you may be traveling. So I believe that's when you really have to, because before you know it, 30 days will pass.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that you do schedule. So I just really, most people may find it undesirable, but like, it has to be in the moment and all of that stuff. And that's cool. I understand that. I get that point too. But what happens when 30 days have passed? Or what happens when 60 days has passed? Or what happens when 90? Like, if for like some people may say 6 months have passed. I'm like, wait a minute, what have you been doing? You know what I'm saying?
That's the reality.
So you have to make sure, you have to do what you need to do. And so whether it's, scheduling that time or, you just have to make sure you schedule that time to connect with each other. So.
And ladies too, I get this from men, I'm sure, ladies may have the same complaint thing, but not complaint, but like situation too, about how like that becomes like a big elephant in the room, right? So like we have not done it for a month. A month has gone by, 30 days have gone by, and we have not, no yams have been cooked. And so what do you do? I know that's somebody listens to right now, because I get this from guys that hit me up like, man, what am I supposed to do? Like I'm trying to hold out, I'm trying to be best I can. And I think that opens the door for like porn, like guys get into porn, ladies get into porn, or you get into other people, or you get, like you can typically steer away from those things. And so it's like really being open about that. And can your spouse come to you and communicate when those times are coming up? And so I know that's been something we've had before, of like just having a conversation about like, hey, we need to, we need to get back on track with it, make that happen.
And they said, to keep it more spontaneously, if you want to, for those who want to be spontaneous, if you know that your day is coming up or whatnot, you could go ahead and just, start like that morning, sending love messages. And you should do this anyway. So, just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Send some kisses. You know what I'm saying? There's so many emojis and all of that stuff now. So, so there's so many things that you're able to do to create that moment, to set the mood, and so, and it could really build the anticipation up. So, and then the next one was, initiate more often.
Listen closely. Listen.
Don't expect your spouse to be the only one in your marriage who's responsible for romance. You both need to take responsibility for having an intimate and successful relationship. So again, like I stated earlier, it's both people. Like we both have to put in the work. I think a lot of times society has set it up where it is on the man, but it is both of us. It's both of our responsibilities. Now, men, please take the lead. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think, definitely shoot your shot. Take the lead. If you haven't, wine and dine her in a while, do that, to take her out, that sort of thing, or just spend that time. One of the things we had the couples gala, one thing that I love that I really want Jeff and I really to practice is that one of the recommendations was you schedule a date day or date night or whatever it is, and basically it's weekly. And so, so if it's like a Friday, but if you miss, whoever counsels that date or date night, they have to make it up before the next Friday come about.
Yeah,
so,
whatever day they have.
Yeah, so whatever date that you have scheduled. So if it's Monday or if it's Tuesday, whatever the day. So for example, if Jeff and I's day was Friday, and if I counsel on Jeff, then I'm the one that's responsible for rescheduling before the next Friday come around. So that means that I have to make sure I look at my schedule. I need to schedule it on that Sunday. And again, but it does not cancel that upcoming Friday. You still, so that means you get 2 days in a, you know what I'm saying?
I thought they were just saying, I thought they were saying you have to make sure you schedule the next one. I didn't think they were saying like, you got Wednesday in. Some people that brings anxiety to it. So I didn't think that. Maybe that's the way it was meant. We need to get them on the show. But I was thinking it was meant to say you need to make sure that you set that up again to make sure it happens. But
the main thing is you really want to make sure you schedule a weekly time with each other. And again, men, it's not just up to the women to schedule the days. And, and when I say schedule, I mean you've already taken care of everything. The babysitter, everything, so yeah.
Yep. And so real quick too, because some people cannot get out, like you have a certain situation. I know, like some of our listeners have. Oh yeah, some people don't have babysitters. Some people have kids that have conditions that you cannot, leave them like that. So it's like scheduling time. Like, hey, we're gonna put these kids, we're gonna change the clocks, get these kids in bed early, and we're gonna do something in the house. We're gonna go out, go outside, watch the thing. Like we're gonna do something. We're gonna cook together. We're gonna do something. So you don't have to have a lot of money to do those things. Now, don't not do those things too if you can. But don't let that be an excuse to saying we can't do something. So, but being open to being creative then. Like when you broke, you had to be creative something. So, like being creative just to get those things.
I think I shared this before. One of our memorial days was when we were in college. And you lit candles and cooked some mac and cheese. And at the time,
that makes some good.
Yeah, and, and did Popeyes. You know what I'm saying? And it was nice. That's probably one of my most memorable dates.
Would you eat that now? If I made it for you now? The silence.
Of course I will.
I got it cooked. That's what I asked you for.
Yeah,
I got it already.
No, because I think it was one of those things that you took the resources that you had and you made it memorable. And that's still, like I said, that's one of our favorite.
Let's do it again. You want to recreate that one?
Of course, baby. Let's do it.
When do you want to do it?
You schedule it.
All right. Yeah. I'm scheduling for this weekend. So.
And let me tell you,
I got no problem doing it.
So
because it's gonna be a part 2 to this side too. So
that was the last one.
Oh yeah, definitely. No. I just want to say this part to kind of that many times, like when we talk about sex, like we talk about you got different sides. You came up differently. You may have saw your parents like very physical, or you may not have seen your folks very physical. And I think like talking about those things, finding out what your partner likes in those things, and then pushing towards doing those things. So, like one thing that I want us to do is, if mine is sex, which I don't mind the yams, but I think in terms, I would love for her to own that, because what I have, years ago, I used to dread bringing up the conversation. So like, if time would go by, like 2 weeks, I would dread coming to her saying, you know what, like 2 weeks are going by, I would want her to say that if I was a high desired spouse. And she was saying earlier about how if I didn't, plan a date night type thing, I'm assuming that you're saying you would want me to take the lead on that. So I think what would be cool is if saying, you know what, you own this part about making sure, let's say our number piece, and we're going to talk about this in part 2 too, so make sure you tune back in next week too as well, but you own that part of sex. I will own the part of whatever fills your love tank. So what I'm going to put my energy towards is, I'm going to put my energy towards feeling what feels you, and I'm going to try my best not to worry about the things that I want for myself. So I'm going to give and pour. But
that takes a lot of work though. Because that takes a selfless.
It does.
It takes selfless.
That's what I vows.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times, most times, you usually think about your needs, so that takes a lot of effort, and I believe it's definitely possible. And I know I would love for us to do that for sure. So, because it takes, putting your needs above the other person's needs. So, yeah.
So let's do it. You want to do it?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, pinky promise?
Pinky promise.
Oh, it's on.
So what we're stating is Jeffrey is going to start to filling my love tank, and I'm going to start filling his love tank. And I think what you realize is once you start filling each other's love tank, it's a win-win. It really is. Like, I think a lot of times we like, oh, you know what? Here we go. We're on day number 29. I still haven't got the yams. And it's just like, well, that's not helping. It's like, well, what have you done? What are you not doing? Like, it's something that person not, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes so, but sometimes it can be like, you know what? If that's not my thing, then some people will do that. Some people say, that's not my thing, so I'm good with it.
No, but I don't think it's that. I think it's just like, I know for me, and I'm just going to speak for us, okay? And I will share this. But I know for me, like, if I feel like my love tank is not being fulfilled, like, meaning like, if I don't feel valued or if I don't feel appreciated based on my love languages, I feel depleted.
Then you're not going to be with us.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
And then the other side, like for me, then if I'm not getting the same part about it,
somebody has to be the first person, and that's what I'm saying. Even like as the head of the household, that's what I'm just saying. As the head of the household, yeah.
But what I was saying is too, right? So you give them that crazy cycle, and that's what we're gonna talk about in part two too. Of like, okay, neither one of us are getting our needs met, right? And so what do you do when she needs this or this and he needs this and this, and neither one of those are giving? And so how do we get off that crazy cycle to where, look at that, most people feel motivated to do something, like you just said, after they get their love tank filled. Can you fill somebody's love tank if yours is not filled? I think the fear comes is like, I'm filling that love tank and they're not even doing something for me. I think that's the fear on either side. I think we'll talk about it more in part two about that. Get into it. So,
yes. So,
all right. Thank you. The love part about that is have this conversation with your spouse.
Yes.
Have this conversation with your spouse about, hey, what is one thing you love that I do, and what is one thing I could do to show you I love you? What's a tangible, physical way in terms of a sexual way that I could show you that I love you? And then vice versa, and repeat that vice versa. And then, just like we talked about, challenge yourself to feel their love tank.
So put your needs. So yes.
Put your needs
and
second.
We're going to follow up next week
to let
you guys know how it go for us for this week. Yes.
Yeah, so your friend is not going to be.
So, laugh, learn, love.
Hold on. We got to do Mr. Muncher real quick. Mr. Muncher.
Oh.
So, on every episode, thank you. Listen, we have to love your spouse through everything. So, all right, look at your spouse. Even if you argue through this whole episode, look him in the eyes and tell him, I like you. I love you. And I want you. Here we go. All right, we need new chairs. Let us know how you like these new chairs. These ain't new chairs. This is new chairs in the house, but new chairs for the podcast. So, if you sing us out, come on, one time.
Laugh, learn, love.
Come on.
Laugh, learn, love.
Talking about sex.
Laugh, learn, love.
On the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Podcast Show.
Laugh, learn, love.
Talking about sex.
Laugh, learn, love.
Talking about the yam.
Laugh, learn, love.
On the Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Podcast Show. Oh, yeah. This is episode 21. Listen, come back next week.
That's our show.
We're digging into, for real, what's going on with sex. Talking about some of y'all questions you have about a lot of things we talk about sex. So come back, follow us on social media. Love y'all. God loves you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's go.